Sometimes when we see successful people in life, we do not realize what they have gone through. We just see the glitzy facade and we think, oh wow, what a nice cushy life that person has. Little do we know about the struggles that that person must have gone through. So today I have with me over here a lady called Jitsun Wangmo. She belongs to a very small place in Himachal Pradesh, but mind you, she had lofty dreams. She wanted to make it big in life. Now, this session is going to be about the adversities that she faced and how she made it to the top. Today, where she is, we really need to learn from her how she reached there. She stepped out of that small place. She started doing some big things in life. But then, yes, one more point is there, and that is my absolute favorite. She never settled for mediocrity. Even when she started cracking it in life, she said that no, I need to make things further go up for me. She wanted to climb notches. And that is when she decided to do her MBA, which turned things for her. Anyway, so I'm taking you over to her. We'll find out from her what is it exactly that worked for her and what we can learn from the leaves of her book. So let me take you over to Jitsun, who's here with me. Hi.
Hi.
I welcome you here on behalf of Unacademy.
Thank you so much, and I'm really happy to be here with you today.
Same here, the pleasure is mutual, and we are very eager to learn some things from you, to at least find out what you have gone through in your life and what is it that has made you tick in your career. So you have done your MBA from IIM Kozhikode.
Yes, I have.
And before that you did your IHM.
Yes.
Why this switch from IHM to Kozhikode?
Yeah, so I grew up, like you said, I grew up in a small town back in Himachal, and then the only career options for us, as when I was a kid, was become a doctor, become an engineer, or get into a government job. After beyond that, our parents didn't have the exposure, and our teachers didn't really have that sort of exposure. And I remember when I was in class 7, I would tell my mom, no, I want to become a news anchor. And then everybody would laugh, like, what sort of a job are you looking for? Like, there's no stability, all of that. So I grew up with that mindset, and I didn't really know much. I didn't really have mentors. But my parents were very particular. They said, okay, you may not excel in this. Your aptitudes may not fit in for the regular stuff. So we want you to become, develop your overall personality, because that will just take you to places. And also because at that point in time, I said I wanted to become a news anchor, right? So they put me in a boarding school. That's where I kind of started learning to speak in English, made some really good friends who would help me out.
So you came out of Himachal?
Yeah, I came out of Himachal. So I came out of the town and I moved to Shimla, which is a bigger city in Himachal. And in the boarding school, I had a couple of friends, and she would kind of really tell me that you read books, talk to me in English, practice more. And that's how I started to build my confidence. And so on and so forth, things went on.
So you mean to say that when you came to Shimla, you were not fluent in English?
No, not at all. So before Shimla, I did study in an English medium school, but we never spoke in English. Like, it was literally frowned upon back in my small village that she's acting too much speaking in English, and nobody really spoke in English.
Okay guys, so here there's one very important point for you all to learn. I mean, this is the learning thing that we are talking about over here, and this should act as inspiration for you. Can you make out that once like long back she did not speak in English? Wow.
Yeah, it was only in class 8 when I joined the boarding school, and then started picking up, practicing a lot more, started reading a lot of books, and it was purely to build my verbal capabilities, and that has helped me a lot. And that was my first step with how learning has improved or changed my life, right? And then when I got into 12th and all of that happened, again we were kind of clueless, what do we go into? And I faced a personal loss in class 12, and somehow somebody told me, okay, why don't you try hotel management? It'll at least bring you stability, and then you figure out after that what you want to do. So I said, cool. I got into hotel management, got into the best college that there was.
That was IHM.
That was IHM Pusa,
right,
in Delhi. And I quite liked it because it was more or less aligned with, like, it was not being a news anchor, but it still had that glitz,
the glamour thing,
it had the glamour, right? Like it kept you on your toes.
Yes.
So it was something that worked for me. At that point in time, I was really excited. finished my course. And
can I ask you something over here? Were you aware of other career options back then?
Not at all, not at all. I had no idea that there is MBA. I had no clue that people go to IIMs. I only knew you could become doctors, you could become engineers or IAS officers,
right.
And bank jobs, right? That was pretty much it. This news anchor thing is just something that I wanted to do as a kid.
Right.
And hotel management, honestly, it just came because at that point in time in 12th, when I was going through personal issues, I didn't know what else to do, and I got into it.
So then, you said you started enjoying what was there.
I loved, so the hotel jobs, I loved it because we had to, it was so practical. We had wine tastings, we had, menu planning, event management. There was a bit of accounts and all of that as well there, but it was really exciting for me, and that worked with my aptitude a lot.
Okay.
And I managed to then get into Oberoi group of hotels. That was the most sought after job.
Yes.
Yeah. I went through some 8 interview rounds to finally make it to that. And that changed my life completely because it instilled so much confidence. Because I felt that from the entire country where there are bunch of people applying, only 11 or 12 are getting selected.
Right.
That did really well for my...
So that Oberoi thing must have been the 2-year program.
Yes.
And then it must have taken you places as a management trainee.
Exactly.
Right.
Yes.
So which places did you visit as part of that?
So my main, Delhi was the center, but then Oberoi would send you to different hotels every 6 months or 2 months to practice on the job activities. So I was posted in Nariman Point in Bombay. Then I went to the Oberoi Rajvilas in Jaipur. In Shimla, there's Oberoi Cecil. I worked there for a bit. Then again in Delhi, and then small events here and there. And it was really interesting because they kept us on the toes.
Yes.
Yeah, and they started teaching us from how to clean the toilet to really how to manage the revenues of the hotel. Right. So it was a very holistic sort of training.
Great exposure that you got.
Exposure,
yes.
Yeah. And you get to meet people, right, in hotels. At that point in time, now when I sometimes tell my mother, right, what did I do? Those years are wasted. I didn't learn anything. But she says, she told me that there are things, that soft skills that you pick up from a hotel job.
Very true.
Yeah, that's something you can't really get anywhere else. I know how to behave in a social environment, right?
Yeah.
I know how do you need to put yourself across when you're in a business environment, when there's a, young parties, because I've seen those people.
Yes.
I've seen the royal family of Jaipur, dining in front of me. I've seen everybody, I've seen the celebrities.
And the connections that we built during those years.
Exactly.
You know what happens, mostly even students today, they feel that they have to make it to IIMs.
Yeah.
Okay, they obviously everybody wants that okay, we have to get a good job, but they forget the learning journey.
Exactly.
And then they feel sometimes that okay, if in the classes we are not getting the questions, we are not solving questions, if we get something extra, that's not going to be important for us. But then they don't realize that soft skills building and when you interact with people, everything is actually contributing to the overall development of your personality.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So as you said, the learning journey was great.
Exactly. Yeah. Soft skills, I cannot enhance how much it has helped me, and how much Oberoi experience and the hotel management experience shaped that for me.
Right.
And then that's how MBA also happened, right? Because I was interacting with so many people.
No, but then that's another story which I'm very intrigued about, because you just said that you were very happy with what was happening with you. Okay, you loved the glamour, you loved the glitz associated with it, and it was taking you places. Then why weren't you satisfied at that point, and how did MBA get into your mind? We would love to hear that story. Right, audience? Yes.
So, there are a couple of series of events that happened. One, hotel jobs, as much as it is glamorous, it is hard physical work, right? Emotionally and physically draining. And I used to think, I was a young girl, and I used to think, okay, what can I do to fix this? What do I do to fix this industry in general? Where do I need to be in the entire chain of, corporate chain where I can make my voice be heard? And as I inquired, I got to know that, okay, I need to be in HR or I need to be in corporate strategy. Okay. That's how I can, make a change here, make the working standards different. And for that, I needed further education. That was one thing that kind of just triggered that spark in my mind.
Okay.
The second more impactful interaction was, back in Oberoi Rajvilas, I was working as an assistant manager.
That was in Jaipur.
In Jaipur, yes. And we were hosting Bain and Company. They had an offsite, and people started trickling in, the entire team started trickling in. And I was checking them in. I saw a bunch of iCards and I realized, okay, these kids, like they're literally kids. They're just 2 or 3 years older than me. And they're like they are staying in the Oberoi Rajvilas,
right,
where, celebrities and all stay, right? Like it's not an affordable hotel. And I was thinking, what did they do in life to be there? And they're just 2 or 3 years older than me.
So then you got talking to them.
Yeah, so then I got talking to them. I said, what did you do in life? Like, what did you study? How did you get a job at Bain? And I remember there were 3 people who were from IIM Ahmedabad, and then there were 2 from IIM Bangalore. That was the first time I heard about IIMs. Yeah, so that's how I got to know, okay, there is something called IIM, which can transform, and I remember I felt that exact moment that, no, I want to be on that side of the table. Like, I don't want to be here checking them in. I want to be there. And how do I get there? Like, I had to learn more. I can't think that this is the end of my learning. That's when I started exploring more about MBA, understanding. I went home and I Googled.
No, so what you're trying to say is that in order for you to reach that next level, you obviously had to upgrade yourself.
Exactly.
You had to learn something extra. So we shouldn't get complacent at any point that, okay, we have learned as much as we could and now, okay, fine, we don't need to learn further. This is what you're saying, right?
Exactly,
okay.
Yeah. Had I not done that, I'm a very inquisitive person. Even now, I want to know things, I want to Google things. So even at that age, I was like, okay, what is IIM? How are they doing this? Right? Why can't I do it? What is stopping me? And then that just triggered it. And then I was dating my current husband. I was dating him at that point in time, and he just had finished his MBA. So I asked him more, what did you do? How did you do it? I thought it's only engineers do it.
Right.
In my mind, I thought that you need to have an engineering degree to do an MBA, and that's why I never explored it as an option. So the more I got to know about it, I said, okay, this is something that I want to do. And I in my mind, I was very clear. I thought I wanted to get into HR or corporate strategy, because I wanted to get back into hotels to change the way we were working.
Oh, so you're still stuck with that particular desire that you had to change the thing because you thought that something is wrong.
Exactly.
And you had to get into HR to change that.
Yes.
Oh, so you're going back to that.
Yes, I was very passionate about hotels. I still, when I love reading about what is happening in the hospitality industry, what are the trends. I'm still very passionate about it. And I went into MBA thinking in my mind, and honestly, my first choice was to get into TIS for the HR course, right? Because I thought that was exactly what I wanted to do. Unfortunately, didn't clear the interviews. So then, and by then I had cleared IIM Kozhikode. So I thought, okay, not bad. Let me get into it.
Okay.
But yeah, I went with a very clear mind and thought in my mind. I wanted to learn more, and I wanted to learn ways to fix this, right? So with that clarity, I entered my MBA course, and that helped me a lot because it.
So you left your job.
I left my job.
You left it. Okay. And then you decided to prepare for MBA.
Yes, and I had to prepare a lot because the last time that this was back in 2013, and the last time I had done maths was in 2004.
Okay, so your Achilles heel was maths.
Maths, yeah.
Okay, and who helped you with maths?
So maths, I enrolled for some classes. My husband is brilliant at maths. My younger sister is extremely good at maths. So they both would literally sit me down, and my husband would come over, and I had to take up a place in Chandigarh and prepare, and so my husband would come over the weekends and teach me. I was not going partying or clubbing or shopping for that year.
Period,
I was studying because I had to crack maths, right? And that was the only thing that was stopping me from achieving what I wanted to achieve.
Right.
So yeah, that year I remember it was completely focused on just getting my hang on maths. English for thankfully, because of my background and how much I had prepared in those 8, from class 8 to 12, I was constantly trying to improve. So my verbal had become quite strong.
Okay.
Because while I was working on the speaking part of it, I was also trying to fix my grammar very actively. So all of that kind of helped me, and I didn't have to focus much on it, but it was maths that was kind of tricky. So yeah,
So actually, you all along you had that one goal in front of you, okay, and you were fixated on that goal.
Exactly.
And that is what made you so determined.
Yeah.
And you got up every morning deciding to chase that no matter what, okay, and that is why you finally made it to MBA.
Yeah.
So if I ask you, what was the biggest reason behind your success? What would that be?
See, I never doubted myself. There were times, right? Like you were sitting in a classroom with you preparing with IIT graduates, you're preparing with some of the brightest people.
Yes.
But I always, even now, I look at what are my strengths. My strengths are unique. They're different. They're different from the bunch of people that I'm sitting with.
What are your strengths?
See, I don't know. I mean,
your
like
USP, something at least, so we can.
I'm a storyteller.
Nice.
So I'm very creative. I like to tell stories. I like to engage. I am very good at communicating with people in the sense that I know what the emotional quotient, right? Like
right.
What
EQ.
is the person? Yeah,
Okay.
EQ, and that helps a lot, especially when you're sitting in an interview too. You know if you can sense what the interviewer is looking for, you can present that answer
So you're talking
there,
about
right?
striking a chord between you and that other person with whom you're sitting.
Correct.
So that is what you pride yourself on.
Exactly. And hospitality experience gave me that distinct.
Yes.
So because 1 minute I was talking to Sushmita Sen, right?
Yes.
And this is a true story. I was talking to her. The second minute I have to speak to the guard who's holding the door or the chauffeur who's come along with her.
Correct.
So you had to change the way you're interacting with each one of them. I think that is something that we think that it's easy. It's not. And I saw a lot of people lacking that, even in while I was preparing and even during my MBA course that I was doing, that people don't know how to shift with the room. And I take a lot of pride in the fact that I get that. Like I can get it very naturally and understand how to do that.
Okay,
Yeah,
but if we look back at your hotel management thing, and while you were employed with the Oberoi Group, don't you think that if you had given it some more time, like you worked there for about 6 months, right?
Yeah.
If you had given some more time over there, let's say 2 years or 3 years or something, you would have finally reached some higher echelons of success maybe?
See, I wanted stability in life. I wanted my weekends off, right? Like, I wanted some sort of stability because I'm an introvert as well, right? Like, and being in a hotel job kind of drains you. And if your inherent nature is to be an introvert, then it gets a little frustrating after a point in time when you have to constantly interact with people, right?
Right.
So I did realize that, okay, it's good. I mean, this is interesting. I like the education part of it. I like the exposure that I'm getting. But if I have to do this for the rest of my life, it's going against the flow of my own nature, right? And that's why I thought that, okay, a little bit of this, get into the management bit from the hospitality industry, and I wanted to be in hospitality even at that point in time. And I thought, okay, I'll get out of the operations, get into the management. That way I stay in the hospitality industry, but I bring some stability in my life.
Right.
To do that, I had to study, right? Like so
actually, you know what? All along you were very clear about the things that were there for you.
Yeah.
And I think that is one element that is missing these days in students.
Right.
They just follow the rat race. They feel, okay, everybody is doing this, everybody is doing that, and then they come under peer pressure.
Exactly.
So instead of focusing on their USPs, like you said at one point that, okay, if I sit with other people also, I think I start thinking like, what am I good at?
Yeah.
So this is what students miss these days. They don't understand that every student, every person has some or the other skill, some or the other knack that he can build up on.
Correct.
And that is where students lack clarity.
Yeah.
So then, like, there are so many people out there who are doing MBA, but they don't know why they are doing MBA. They're not clear about where they want to go. So, like, okay, now if you made that move from hotel to MBA, and you said that, of course, it catapulted your career in the right direction. So how do you think this is going to be relevant for you in the years to come? Like, where do you see yourself after 5 to 7 years?
Yeah, so basically,
currently you're working with 3M.
Yeah, I'm working with 3M and I've been in marketing. Yeah, so when I was doing MBA, I realized, okay, HR, then that's when the thing moved, right? Like, because I went into MBA thinking I want to get into HR.
Yes.
I got into MBA and I realized, okay, marketing is what I do well here, right?
Okay.
Like I have a creative knack. I'm good at communication. I can figure this out. I like looking at bigger problems and simplifying them. I think marketing is where I need to be. So started focusing on that. Second year, chose all the extra subjects regarding around marketing, and applied only for the marketing jobs when the placement started, and managed to get a job like right on the first day itself with 3M.
Okay.
And in 3M, thankfully it's a great company. Like they gave me, I started as a management trainee, became chief of staff for the MD for a year. then there's like, okay, cool, now you've done 2 years of strategy, corporate strategy, and all of that sort of role. Now get into product marketing.
Okay.
So went on and did product marketing for 2.5 years. And then they were like, okay, cool, now you've done this quite well, get into channel marketing for the entire business group. So that's another aspect of it. Last year they were like, okay, channel marketing is going great, get into e-commerce.
Okay.
Right? So within 3M, like, because I've always had a knack to learn, it's helping me now as well, right? Because I'm constantly upskilling. I raise my hand for everything.
Okay.
So I don't think about, okay, you need to, like, I don't negotiate on those lines. If I'm getting to learn something, I feel I've already...
You take it as an opportunity to learn
I take it
something.
as an opportunity.
Yes.
So even now within 3M, I'll raise my hand for anything and everything, where I think that, this will add value to my own skills.
Right, exactly. That is one very valid point, that sometimes it so happens we don't realize that it's a great opportunity to learn.
Right.
Something comes our way and we feel burdened by it. We say, oh my God, this is extra work, I don't want to do it. But then what you said just now, that is exactly how I analyze when things come my way. That, okay, if I'm going to do this, is it going to add value to my overall thing? Is it going to help me learn something? So even when today we were supposed to sit for this, I did not think of it as a burdensome thing. I was like, okay, I'm going to meet some different people. I'm going to meet nice people, so something or the other I'm going to learn. And that fire in the belly should be there, I think, in all the students out there, because they should have that thing to learn. But now you said that, okay, you start, okay, one thing led to another, and you have done very well in your present company. But going back, did it give you stability, the thing that you had always wanted?
Yes.
It did?
Yeah, it gave me immense stability, like, financial stability, emotional stability, whatever I was craving for, I've got that. So, a lot of people will ask me, like, what is your dream job? Like, my sister says, okay, is this your dream job? Like, is this your dream career? She did MBA as well, didn't like it, quit, then went on to do interior designing. She's doing really well interior design as an interior designer. So she would ask me, like, was this your dream? I said, this was my dream. Like, I'm living my dream right now, right? So, and that's why job satisfaction is high. I'm like, the rat race is here and I'm right here, and I'm winning this race, right? Like, I'm from like, I live with that sort of contentment in my life. So yeah, like, that kind of stability came into place. I ended up marrying that boyfriend who taught me at that point. So he's my husband now. He's happy too, because for him also it was difficult even for a relationship to build when one person is in a very highly unstable sort of industry where holidays are working, there's no weekend off, you can be called anytime, you're working like extra hours every day. So yeah, like, in terms of all sort of stability, I'm
so you got the stability part.
Yeah.
Now, what about the HR thing? I mean, you said that you always had the thing to go back to hospitality for the HR thing and go back to rewiring the things over there. So have you let go of that particular point?
I mean, at one point in time, some dreams you let go of, some dreams you hold on to, right? Like, if the path you see is leading you to a better horizon, you go on that path. Like, I didn't want to dwell onto this, okay, no, I'm a failure, I got into this for doing this, but I didn't do it. I'm like, not at all. At that point in time, this road seemed nicer, marketing seemed much more interesting, I love my job. So I got onto this.
And then you realized after joining here that, okay, you've got that knack for it, you know, so maybe you should kind of pursue this and not cling on to something. So again, there is a valid point over here, guys, fluidity. This is something again that I swear by. Don't think of something as carved in stone कि आज हमने सोच लिया कि हम तो specialized finance में ही करेंगे तो वो ही होगा. No, you join a good school and later maybe you realize that, okay, you have the knack for something else. Go for that. But then learning process is something that is absolutely important. Do not give up learning till your deathbed. I'm telling you, keep upskilling yourself. That will take you places. So now that you have finally found you're doing your dream job, as you said, if I give you a thermometer, which is going to measure your job satisfaction, and the reading is from 0 to 10, where will you rate your job satisfaction?
It'll sound weird, but I'm like at solid 9.5 right now.
Oh, that seemed like me, you know.
No, a lot of people don't. Yeah, so this is a joke back at my house as well, where on vacations, I'll tell my husband I miss working. Like, you know, I genuinely miss it. And I don't work extra. It's 9 to 6, 9 to 6. 9 to 5:30 some days, I shut off my laptop. And I've made that boundary in my office as well. I'm not a workaholic. But when I'm working, I love it. Like, I love thinking ways of doing that, you know, solving that problem that is in hand.
So it's a straight 9.5.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you have that thing when you wake up on Monday mornings, you don't say, OMG, I am. No, oh my God, it's Monday. No, you are like happy to greet the new week, right?
Exactly. And I feel a lot of people, think that job satisfaction makes you a workaholic.
Yeah.
I don't believe in that.
Okay.
I mean, you work at whatever time you've been allotted, you work in that, put in your 100%. You don't need to kill yourself.
Okay.
Don't need to work on Saturdays and Sundays if it's not required. And you can still love your job, right?
Tell me one thing now. See, if we put your case aside for a moment, how important is it for people to do an MBA if they are chasing their dreams?
See, I feel that when you get into an MBA, it's a huge investment, both money-wise and time-wise. So you need to be clear. You shouldn't be doing it because all your friends are doing it. Right? Like, I didn't do it because of that. Think of your attitude. Like, are you fit for it? You need to have certain soft skills along with your, obviously, long list of credentials, academic credentials. You need to have the right soft skills to excel in it. A lot of people get into it thinking because everybody's doing it, but then the soft skills don't match the requirement of the course, right? And it gets really frustrating because MBA is not the end of things. There are opportunities available. Look within yourself, why you're doing it, figure that out. What is it that you want to do, and whether you have the right skills. If not, will you be able to build those skills? And then get into MBA. That's something that I feel is very important when you get into it.
And in the changing scenario today, when the world is actually undergoing a lot of change, how relevant is MBA? How is it going to help people carve out a niche for themselves in the corporate world?
See, MBA, if you're doing it from a good college, it brings you academics aside. Like obviously there are courses, subjects that are important. The networks, right? The 300 plus students that you're studying with. You're meeting people from diverse backgrounds. These people will make the corporate world at the end of the day, right? That network, that connection, the conversations that you're having, the opinions that you're sharing. I've learned so much from just having discussions with my set of friends. From topics as simple as, basic everyday topics to some really important government policies and all of that. That kind of exposure you're not going to get. I don't know about other courses because I've not done that. I didn't get that in my hotel management courses.
Right.
This is what I experienced in MBA because people have come from diverse backgrounds. They've had work experience. They've come they've come as fresh graduates. They've come from Delhi universities or IITs or hotel management, right? Like some journalists, some doctors. A place like that where 2 years you will put together, studying the same subjects, discussing topics varied from any topic that you can discuss. So I think that puts you in that is good preparation for the corporate world, right? Because at the end of the day, when you're selling things, you're talking to people, you're meeting people, you're ensuring that you have the right things to discuss. You're selling products. That's what we're doing in corporate India, right? Like we're selling products. And if you're so cocooned and you've just only seen this much, the conversations will limit to this much. Yeah, so MBA kind of expands your entire horizon, right? So that's how it prepares you for the corporate education. Yeah, there is a lot of changes that I feel the curriculum needs to have, which eventually they will. But that experience of sitting with that group of people, the 300 plus students that you get exposure to, and the professors, right? Like brilliant professors. That is something that is why it is important to get into an MBA if you're looking into making a career in corporate.
Okay, so for the students who are preparing for their MBA exams right now, any 2 skills that you would say are imperative for them to learn along the way, like in the prep journey?
See, I know a lot of students who are preparing are great at maths because half of them are engineers, 95% of them are engineers, right? So I know they can do that well. Interviews, right? Like GD and interviews, PI.
Yeah.
I think I aced it. Like I'm being very this thing about it, but I aced my GDs and PIs.
Okay.
That helped me a lot, and I think a lot of people don't give enough credit to preparing for the GDs and PIs.
Yes.
How do you speak in a way where you're not shouting, yet the room is quiet to listen to you when everybody is fighting for the same seat, right? That's important. Practice a lot more on that. Practice a lot more talking, expressing, telling stories, narrating things. Talk to yourself. Like just prepare. Just learn how to talk with voice modulation. All of that matters a lot. So GDPI, is important. Like at least I personally felt that helped me a lot to get to where I got,
and
right?
soft skills, of course, you
Soft
have
skills,
said
yeah.
repeatedly about soft
Everything
skills.
else you can learn, right? You can practice and learn, but these things are something that you have to build. You have to be very
Yes.
conscious about building.
Yeah,
these
so
things.
very often, it happens that students are preparing for their CAT, for the upcoming exams, and then they forget this angle that, okay, once they crack the exam, they are going to get just 2 months, about 1 or 2 months, in which they have to prepare for the GDPI, and suddenly it's not going to happen out of the blue.
Yeah.
So what you said is very right, that all along they have to build up actually on those things, and they should keep improving the communication skills as well.
And it won't just help them get into MBA, even post that, right? Like getting a job, obviously.
Yep.
And then how do you work in a corporate environment? You have to interact. You have to know how to
Right.
speak.
Absolutely.
Like that is really important. So if you can put your thoughts into really good words and you can really, communicate that well, I think you should go into MBA. If that's
Absolutely.
like the strength that you need. Yeah.
In the end, if I ask you to pass on a very powerful message to my listeners out there, what would it be? I mean, my listeners out there are people who are actually aspirants for CAT. They are kind of on the MBA journey. So what would you say to them?
I would say something that worked for me. Don't doubt yourself. When you're in a room full of people and you think that, okay, I'm not good enough, you're always good enough. You're good at something else. Think of what you're good at. Keep that as a motivation for yourself and build on things that you're struggling with, or you think that you need to build on, right? That will take you places. And always keep learning. Like you're never, you're never like done learning. That's what I feel. You should always kind of raise hand for things. So yeah, stay confident. I mean, confidence will take you places.
That was amazing.
Thank you.
I'm sure besides the students, like even other people who are going to listen to this will understand very easily that it's important to stay confident, guys. It's important to understand that even you have something good in you. Appreciate the learning process. Do well in your prep journey. And of course, if you do all these things right, we are going to crack it. Thank you so much.